This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest Talon mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Talon Mix. It is a Smallville recap podcast hosted by two guys who watched Smallville in college and are now watching it again in their 30s, because that's the thing you do when everything is going great in your life. I'm Brian, here as always with my pal Zach. Zach, how are you?
Get married, check. The kid, check. Rewatch Smallville.
There we go. That's it.
Working on it. You're working on it.
Working on it. We're 98. Episode 98, Zach.
It's insane.
It's
insane.
It's funny how we're reaching a major cast member is about to leave the show, right? Which I remember being a moment that I absolutely dreaded. I loved this character who might be named Schmonathan Schment. Might rhyme with that. No spoilers.
Hey, are you sure it's not going to be Lana?
I'm sure of nothing. I'm sure of nothing. It's been a long time. Maybe that's it. But it's funny. So I was dreading that moment. I was dreading it so much. And now, and even though when I watched it initially, I was watching your DVDs while we were in college, and I remember feeling like it was a while before that happened, and like 5 seasons was a long time to be on the show, and now I'm like, already? He's gonna go already? I feel like we haven't even gotten to like all the good stuff.
He does. In this rewatch, he seems to be in it a lot less than I remember.
That's exactly what I'm feeling. Yeah, that's happening with a couple of characters. Chloe's in it less than I remember. Lana's in it less. Really, it's just Clark. It's Clark all the time.
Well, Chloe, I feel like Chloe gets more time as it goes on.
Yeah, but we're leaving my hardest Season 6 is the last one I probably watched in earnest. I think I fell off during 7, and then I checked in a little bit through the years. But so I'm like, I don't know. I can't believe we're through high school already, you know? I think looking back, I think I remember there being more drama, more high school drama than there actually was on reflection.
Well, we like mainlined, in both of us in college mainlined the show in however many hours it takes to watch it is how long we watched. Like,
Definitely.
I watched season like every couple days.
Right.
So
that must be different.
It's all jam packed. All that emotion is jam packed into when you we talked about this last week. When you binge a show, you really become like a junkie for the show.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, man, what if I knew those people in real life? That would be cool. What if I was in that world? What if...
Just alone in my apartment on a futon, kind of wishing I lived in Smallville, and all the pretty girls like me, but I'm mysterious.
And if you watch it like one every week over years, you're like, didn't they do this one already?
Yes, 1,000,000%. So no more beating around the bush here. We watched Fanatic. It's the 10th episode in the 5th season of Smallville. As I mentioned, it's the 98th episode overall, and it aired January 12th, 2006. We made it to 2006. I'm a senior in high school now, which makes sense.
Like
this came out on DVD while I was there in Vancouver.
And this might be getting close to when I applied to VFS, right?
Wow.
Because we're going to be going to VFS
right
after the end of this season.
Right. Wow. Yeah, so this crazy. Yeah, I guess so. I guess same. Both of us, I guess.
Season 6 is when we're going to school and watching the show as it comes out.
Right. I watched season 6 on DVD back home.
Oh.
I didn't have a cable or anything.
Right, but I feel like you had the internet and there were not so legal ways to watch things.
Oh,
wasn't
you're
there?
right. Maybe I was doing it that way. If that was available, that's how I was doing it for sure.
Maybe you were only getting some of them because I feel like we talked about some of them as they were happening.
That sounds about God. I would. So this is how different things are now, where you can just please type in an episode of Smallville. You can just find it. You can just find it.
Yeah, I just think about it and it appears on my TV.
It's at the time. So I lived in a studio apartment in Vancouver. I did not have internet in my apartment, and it stunk. I would have liked to have had internet, but it was not at all insurmountable. Which notable, my building had internet, and I don't know if you remember my building at all, had a very nice common area. There was a big screen TV, pool table, very comfortable. That had Wi-Fi. So if I wanted to watch something on YouTube, which didn't have a lot, it would have maybe it would have episodes of TV shows, and they'd be cut up into like 10-minute segments. And what I could do is tab, and then I'd load up all of those, and then I'd bring it back up to my apartment. Which is a crazy thing. Just like now, that'd be like that's just not a way to live. And I didn't think anything about it. I thought it was great. I thought this is great.
If you wanted, when we were growing up, if you wanted to listen to a song, you had to buy an album, listen to one song.
Absurd.
Or you just sat around Magical Box and waited until someone else decided to play it.
I was a big radio taper. I did a lot of taping off the radio.
Yeah.
I had my one mixtape.
I remember that.
I had my one 2-sided mixtape. And so, like, I had to pick what was going to go. If a new song came, I had to pick something to kill. So I only had the one tape. Didn't have $5 to go get another tape, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
I'm listening to the radio again, just regular old terrestrial fucking radio. Kind of into it. Kind of enjoying unplugging from needing a specific thing at any specific time.
It is interesting now when the phone isn't working for some reason in my car and I can't do Spotify, and it's like, how did I live like this ever?
I know. Especially like since radio's gotten way worse than when we were kids, I think.
I think so too, because anytime I check it, it's like, oh, it's 5 songs.
It's all owned it's owned by the same giant conglomerate, right? So it's the same 5 songs on every fucking station, right? Maybe like the country station has 1 or 2 different ones that are all mixed in with the same 5. But it's, oh man, there's like no local even when we were like younger, we had one station that was like very proud of being not owned by the big corporate company. So like that was in the process of already happening. Thank you for listening to 2000s radio talk. Honest,
my day. I think that's like 25% of this show. Remember when?
I mean, the whole and actually true to the premise. We wanted to talk about 2000s nostalgia a little bit. To be fair, that's 99% 9/11 on this show. This is going to be dark. My wife and I are getting really excited's the wrong word. I think very soon we're going to get really, really stoned and watch the episode of WWE SmackDown that aired 2 nights after 9/11.
Oh, my God.
I'm willing to bet.
They aired one 2 nights after 9/11? Of course they did.
Fucking nights, Zach.
Of course they fucking did. They canceled football, Brian. And I remember that was controversy. They were like, well, we're not the Curious Twin. He's just canceling football for 1 week. Not kidding.
Because 9/11 happened. Welcome to our 9/11 episode. It's the 7th. We're recording this.
It's that time of year.
It happened.
We did a whole 9/11 thing on our pilot episode that no one will ever hear.
Yeah.
Because the pilot of Smallville premiered shortly after 9/11.
Right.
So let's get into it now. Sorry, go ahead, Brian. I cut you off.
Fuck. It's all good. Just 9/11 happened. We all lost our fucking minds. We all went fucking insane for a little bit there.
Right. But the problem wasn't, that's understandable.
Right,
But we were like,
right.
the reaction of, oh, you're acting too crazy over this. Let's just have our football.
Right.
No, we don't really know what's going on right now.
Oh my god, that was fucking nuts. Fucking
Still
nuts.
pulling people out of rubble.
Right.
We don't need a football game right
But
now.
don't worry, The Rock is ready to go.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it. There's going to be some like not politically correct shit in there.
Oh,
I'm guessing.
I'm fully ready to be unconscionable. Like, it's will it be as bad? Will it be as bad as this was an event among my friends. It was around whatever anniversary of 9/11 was a couple of years ago. We all got together to watch this was coming out that year, the Long Island Medium 9/11 anniversary special, where the Long Island Medium, who is fake, with families of 9/11 victims, and talk to quote unquote their families as the Long Island Medium. It's now granted, okay, in general, as far as like television mediums or in general mediums, if you're just telling, if you're selling something people are clearly buying and like you're bringing people some kind of comfort, I don't necessarily see the harm, depending on how much fucking money you're fucking wringing out of people. There's a dollar amount that where it suddenly becomes dark, and I think it starts at 1. Where you're taking advantage of grieving people. But this was so fucked up. Of like we had a whole like house full of people watching this, and like we're of course we're all getting fucked up ourselves and like ready to make fun of it, and like I'd say halfway through it was like, this sucks, this is very depressing.
Surprisingly, the 9/11 grieving special was not as fun as I thought it was going to be. Is that
one would think. But it was dark, man. It was dark. Weird.
Did you watch any of those? There's a couple different documentaries and miniseries a couple of years ago on the 20th anniversary on 9/11. Did you watch any of that stuff?
Netflix made like a big one of like really breaking down the events. I think I watched one or two. Nothing caught my eye enough that got my attention. I mostly remember not really much of the 20th anniversary stuff. Do you remember like the year after they had all those two French documentarians that were doing a documentary about the fire department? And 9/11 happened while they were just making a fucking fire department documentary. So they have footage inside the building. They went in with them.
Oh, okay. So they probably used that for the there was a Hulu. I think it was Hulu.
More than likely.
They had one for the 20th anniversary that was like, well, this footage I'd never seen, and it was a lot inside the building with the fire department.
It's probably that footage. It's pretty wildly, I mean, obviously incredibly depressing, but like wild shit.
I mean, that destroyed me. The Hulu documentary fucking destroyed me.
I don't know if I saw that one.
I think you'd remember if you did.
Yeah. Weird time. Weird time.
It was a crazy thing. Yeah, it was crazy.
Any
Oh,
other thoughts on September 11th, 2001? Or shall we talk about Fanatic?
Oh,
Sometimes,
shit.
over the past couple of weeks, I've been looking over, downloads, listens, and been a little like, numbers are down lately.
Maybe it's because we're talking about shit like this.
I don't know. If we were in the mood to examine the general content of our show, that might be something I looked at. That said, I'm not willing to do that. So here we go. Barreling forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'm not kidding. I'm transitioning straight into the recap of Smallville.
Okay, wait. Before we go in, sorry.
Yeah, all good.
Let's just get general thoughts about this episode. I know
yes.
you were lukewarm on it.
Lukewarm.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think we both agree about it. It's basically one of these episodes. I texted you this, where it's like, oh, we've been off the air for a month and a half. It's just, where's everybody on the board?
Right.
To remind the audience of where everyone is. Let's set up all of our upcoming conflicts.
The story here is not the point of the episode.
No. So I could understand why it would take you a few viewings of like your whatever. For me, all the little scenes of recapping and like little dramas were really worked on their own. And I thought all the acting was really good in this episode from everyone. Even the Clark Lana shit I thought was good.
Yes, I agree. Performance-wise, I agree. We are established Tom Welling and Kristen Crook fans on this podcast. Every time Lana comes up of now you've kind of in what we talked about of watching the show in this way, it really is striking me how underutilized Lana's been this entire time. Like more of this would have been really good. I wish there was like a lot more of this.
We'll get into it when the scene comes up, but
yeah,
it's a good scene when and it's a fun cue to have.
Yes.
I'm proud of Smallville for going there. I'm proud of them.
Agreed. Okay, all right. Beginning the episode here, I'm of course reading directly from the Smallville wiki, smallville.fandom.com. A hidden killer assembles a rifle at a campaign rally for Jonathan Kent. The assassin prepares to shoot and is revealed to be Lois. The rifle is fired and the bullet streaks towards Jonathan. That's the kind of thing that I imagine, like, it starts here. The image, they worked backwards from Lois is going to shoot Jonathan.
Also, this is a state Senate seat, I believe, is established at this point.
Right. They
still throw in lines
for a little bit, but yeah.
They still throw in lines that are confusing because they talk about, like, nurses union is key in the 49th district. How many districts vote for the state senate? Isn't each district get a state senator? Or anyway,
I don't know, and I don't think they do
Senate,
either.
State Senate rally. This is not the night of the campaign.
Right.
This is not, or the night of the election. This is a rally. There are more people here than went to Donald Trump's inauguration. There are 1,000 people.
They're so fucking excited for State Senator Jonathan Kent.
And a plot line in this episode is how they ran out of money because they spent it all on these little American flags that they're handing out and shit.
This is more people than have ever been at a state senate rally ever in human history.
Sure.
State senator had been invented as a job and nobody went like, oh, cool. Just to see what it was all about. It never happened.
Honestly, I think this is the amount of people you might have at a U.S. Senate.
Yes.
Like election night.
Yes.
Campaign headquarters.
Yes.
Celebration.
Right. This feels like the kind of thing, don't get me wrong, generally evil billionaire wants to run for a political office. I'm not usually like, cool. That's kind of thing. Like Lex Luthor's running for state senator in Kansas. That'd be one of those like, whatever. Sure, whatever.
Idea. Also, I know this is Smallville. The idea someone would get assassinated running for state senate There's no meteor rocks involved in this. This is just someone who's so concerned about state senate, they want to kill Jonathan Kent.
That's just, I don't even know if that fully goes into assassination. That might just be murder. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's not anyone.
No.
It's just
If let's be real here, 99.9% of the state of Kansas would go, who? What happened?
Yeah. Oh, we had an election? Oh, by the way, my biggest problem here, I didn't realize until this episode. The election is coming up, and last week we had our Christmas episode. When is this election taking place, Ryan?
Whoa.
The election appears
That
to be
is
taking
such a
place
good
in February.
Could there be some sort of like special election? Could it be a known special election, but with a
It was
full
like,
campaign around?
Is it a recall election? When they first had the Dukes of Hazzard guy,
Right.
was going to run for. They didn't say anything about a recall. It was like, oh, you're going to run again for.
Unless,
pretty sure.
What would happen? What would happen to if? Yeah, because he's talking about running, so it's not like he vacated the seat and they got to figure out. I don't even think that's how that works. I think if you.
Oh.
I think maybe this is just silly.
I think maybe the writer's room is probably right because I may be the first person ever to ask that question.
Maybe. Yeah.
Watching this show.
That's so fucking funny, dude. Holy shit. Wow. So yeah, no, you're telling me these people give this big of a shit about politics in January? That's like record fucking low giving a shit about anything.
Okay. I said we were going to get into weeds on this campaign here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it all now.
Great.
Which party is which character running in?
Oh, they will never tell. They will never tell.
Oh, no. They purposely obscure it
Of course.
the best they can.
I feel like every TV show does that. Just like does not make
Yeah.
anybody mad.
They have Mama K and Johnny K wearing like a green tie and a green dress in their promo ad. Like,
Didn't even notice that.
not a color that anyone wears. Lex has like, you would think Johnny K would be Republican. Then Lex has like a young Republican type fan club or whatever.
Yes.
Like those people are very young Republican.
Right.
He's a billionaire, so I could see Lex being the like neo-liberal billionaire
Right.
guy, and then Johnny K is the. But it's state senate. Like, it could just be into two independents for fucking state senate.
Fuck. Who knows? I always I loved. I don't know if did you ever watch that Kiefer Sutherland show, Designated Survivor?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
I watched like the pilot the night it aired. It was just on. And then I think I watched I liked the pilot enough to then watch the next episode when I was flipping through the channels and saw that it was on. It was the most like organic, like, sure.
Oh, you always got to watch the second one.
Right.
That's what the show is.
Right, yes.
They film the pilot and then they really start the show like a year later.
I'll say I did not watch the third, but it's so the premise of Designated Survivor is that there's an attack on the Capitol, and then Kiefer Sutherland, who's like a lower level government guy, is like somehow through some formality the guy. He becomes president. He's the next in line. And it's all about just like, what if a normal guy became the president? And then I think that was happening around the 2016 election, and then I wasn't super in the mood for a dude who doesn't know how to be president being president. That vibe wasn't as novel. That was
weird. Total coincidence.
But so in the pilot, now there are ways this could still make sense, don't get me wrong, but in the pilot they mention he serves as a Democrat. And in the second episode, he specifically mentions that he's always been an independent.
Yes. That's great.
Yep.
Great note.
Yep.
Note they got on that one. Yeah.
Yep. Or speaking of Keith Sutherland, 24 is another one they don't, I think, mention parties ever. But also, I think in 24, the entire American country is just Republican. Democrats don't exist.
It's certainly made by Republicans.
Million trillion %. Did you have any more problems with the election storyline?
I mean, I might as we go. That was the big one, was that it's not November. And what party is each of them running in?
The farmer party, farmer guys.
Yes.
What if Johnny K was in the Green Party and that's why he's wearing green?
Oh, ooh.
Not in a
He's
million
not going to
years.
get any votes in Kansas. He's not getting any votes.
John Schneider would put a shotgun up against his fucking chin. Then portray someone in the Green Party.
John Schneider's playing him like it's a Republican. You know, in John Schneider's mind.
John Schneider knows no other way. 48 hours earlier, Lex is meeting with the Central Kansas A&M Students for Lex Luthor group. What the yeah, right, a state senator group like this and fucking at a college? What are you fucking talking about? One woman, Samantha Drake, asks to have a picture with him. She is clearly his biggest fan, talking about how much she knows about Lex and even wearing a Lex charm around her neck. I feel like Rosenbaum does some good. The woman here is obviously very attractive. Rosenbaum is doing a good bit of like, you're a very pretty lady, but this is a little weird. He has a very good eye work of like, I'm going to see how this plays out.
Yes. He's so good in this episode.
Very good.
So good.
Lex is unnerved at Samantha's devotion. After the meeting, Lex gets a call from Griff. Griff is the guy who... so Lex will get phone calls now from Griff. And he didn't have to go all the way to Granville to meet in a steam tunnel.
To the pipe hallway.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Griff was finally like, did you hear about phones?
No, the payment from Lex, he's like, okay, now I can afford to use a payphone.
I also love Lex goes, this isn't a secure line. Like anyone's fucking snooping it on state senate.
Isn't it his home?
Yeah, right.
Maybe get a secure line at your house,
Yeah,
billionaire.
right? Come on. Okay. After the meeting, Lex gets a call from Griff. He says he has incriminating evidence against Jonathan for Lex, and they arrange a meeting. However, Lionel finds Griff first and gives him a large amount of money for the envelope containing the evidence. This scene's very just some real good John Glover here.
Glover's so good. The best is the reveal. Like, Griff gets out of the phone booth and like turns around, and then like it's one of those John Glover's the devil. Just it's kind of like apparates out of the mist.
Right.
So good. And he pays him. He's like, I thought that it would go to the highest bidder. So he pays him for this dirt that Lex has on Johnny K. Then he sets it on fire in front of him. Then Griff looks at him like, are you crazy? And Johnny Glover gives this, like, he raises his eyebrows like, isn't that weird that I'm doing this? Like,
John Glover himself is like, what a twist. He also hangs on to the flaming picture for like longer. I'd be like, ooh, fuck, ooh. Too hot, yeah.
That's how badass he is.
Yeah, that's it. Griff looks confused when he gives it to Lionel, and Lionel burns it after glancing at the picture. Do we find out what that is?
I mean, it is implied, not specifically, but it's implied later that he knows about Clark. So
Got it. Yeah, that makes
assuming
sense.
it was something with Clark doing super speeding
That makes sense.
in front of a camera or some shit.
Makes sense. The Kents are preparing for a photo shoot arranged by Jack Jennings, campaign manager. Jack Jennings' campaign manager, Sosnick. You could have just named him nothing. It's all right to not name a character Sosnick. No one had a gun to your head and was like, typed in Sosnick. However, they are dressed in formal business clothes, completely unlike the Kents in reality. Lois criticizes Sosnick, and Jonathan agrees. He fires him and hires Lois instead. So this is silly, but
Yeah.
if I'm in the writer's room, I also do think Lois campaign manager is funny, and I would also want to do
Sure.
that.
We gotta give Lois something to do.
Yeah, right.
I'd say this is the weakest plot line of the episode. Just I don't care.
They have a full injury lawyer law office set up in the Kent's living room. It's
Right, yeah, it's very infomercial.
There's a line here that made me laugh of Lois asks, like, what do I know about being a campaign manager? To which Jonathan responds, what do I know about being a state senator? Jonathan, something, I hope. Jonathan, you're running for it.
I know enough not to put that in the ad as your campaign manager.
Yeah, right.
I'll say that again.
Don't. Stop. No. Jonathan, you have a very good chance of winning this. Stop.
So, though, I'm guessing, Brian, don't have to know much, would be my guess. And,
Not when you're a down-homey farm man, and also it doesn't sound like hard job.
State Senate. I'm sure the one listener of ours who is a state senator is just so pissed off
We're
right now.
so happy to have you, Senator. I'm sure it's really hard to listen. I don't know. I think you're like the top of the line where people are mad over like parking disputes.
I think it's probably harder to be a state senator because you actually have people like complaining to your face.
Yeah,
whereas
right.
like if you're a senator, your people are the ones fielding all the complaints, right? And then they tell you.
Right. State senator, they know where to find you at the Applebee's.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
They know your favorite high top at Applebee's.
no, the fucking potholes, man. What the fuck?
Hey, come on, man. I'm just trying to have my fucking $10 margarita. Okay, let's see. Saying he told the... Jonathan then receives a scrambled call, giving him a last warning to drop out of the campaign. Saying he told the caller not to call again, he hangs up and takes his heart medicine pill. He's very shady with the heart medicine pill, which, to your point, just putting everything on the board, like, someone's not doing so good.
Doesn't look like any kind of pill, though.
No,
I mean, it
looks like a sugar pill.
The pills that Neo took in the latest Matrix movie. Those like blue pills.
I think you can get this pill at like Party City. Like it'll change. It's like a food color, a food dye pill. Like
we're gonna call that Chekhov's heart medicine, or like what's the like?
That's it. Well, we'll keep track.
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing.
Lois is putting up election posters Jesus. Lois is putting up election posters when Samantha's group starts to tear them down, claiming they are not regulation size. They argue, and Samantha realizes that Lois will not back down. She tells her buddies that they need to play harder. They corner Jonathan in the barn and beat him up.
Did we get a concussion there?
He seems to be unconscious when we discover him.
Yeah, I'm going to call that a concussion.
I think that's fine. I think, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That's close enough for me. Do we see a specific headshot?
I mean, I could go back to the tape after the episode and really
I'm not
dig
too
in
worried.
here.
I feel good enough to call it. Clark arrives at Lana and Chloe's dorm room and the two get ready to go out. They decide to stay in, and they start making out on Lana's bed. This is a fun scene.
So good. Also, I just want to say that I wrote this note down at the beginning of the scene. Forget, Lana's in this show! Exclamation point.
Right.
So far into the episode before this first scene with her that it was like, oh shit, yeah, Lana's in this.
They must have they must have intended, like, okay, we're going to get Clark and Lana together, and that'll have more for Lana to do. And it's the same amount of fucking nothing.
It's the same problem.
Yeah.
we've had all along, which is I can't share this with you.
You can't fucking do anything if she can't.
Don't want to shit on it because this is a good scene of that. This is like a good.
I think this deserves B plot status, not fucking D plot status. Is the thing.
Yes,
That's
exactly,
where I'm
yes.
mad. I think this is a B plot.
Absolutely.
When Clark abruptly decides to leave after all. So they're making out on the bed, and Clark's like, uh-oh, maybe we should go out. Lana confronts him about why they haven't had Zach, listen to this fucking sentence. And it's true. It's true. Lana confronts him about why they haven't had sex since he died.
She does mention it like so offhanded.
You died, you came back to life, and like I feel like Clark has I haven't really had been in much of a bonery mood since I got shot, died, the hospital lost me. I'm sure we're still going with that because you don't know I ran to the fucking Arctic, and then my biological dad was like, by the way, I have to kill someone you love. Sorry, bud.
She hints at like, no, you don't want to tell me exactly what happened or whatever. Like, we have to know what he told her. I know we've been over this. I don't care if it's a stupid excuse. We have to know what excuse he gave her.
Look me in the fucking eye and tell me what he told her. We deserve that, Smallville writers. We deserve... No, you don't get to fucking try and get away with it and just go, I don't know. Tell me, bitch.
Because there's no way she accepted.
What do you want me to say, Lex?
Yeah.
You know me, ain't I a stinker? Da.
And Lana finally stands up for herself in a way I really liked in this scene where he's like, why aren't you attracted to me anymore or whatever, what's going on? And then Clark deflects against her like, well, you're the one who moved here just as soon as things are going well. And then she's like, nice try.
Right.
Nice deflection, asshole.
Right.
You. I'm like, yeah, good, Lana. Go, Lana.
Go, Lana. She's concerned, but Clark doesn't answer and accuses her of pulling away first by moving to Metropolis and obsessively studying astronomy. Lana gets angry and leaves Clark alone in the dorm room. There is something here of like they keep trying to make a thing. They keep spinning like the basketball on the finger a little bit of like Lana's kind of looking into the spaceship, but we don't really know where that's going, and we don't really know what she's uncovering. Nothing interesting is coming from this storyline. But like Clark at one point is like, I thought you were going to leave that alone. And I was like, she's taking a class in it. Like what?
Yeah, she's
at her college that she goes to. What do you...
Also, she needs to get a good grade.
Yes. Clark. Clark goes to the Daily Planet to talk to Chloe about his relationship problems.
Oh, they're great scenes. See, that's what I'm talking about this episode. Come on.
You're right. It is this episode that I have realized, the Daily Planet is the new Torch office.
Right, yes.
Oh, and Chloe seems to be stuck in it.
Chloe's usually the only one there,
right,
too, whenever Clark comes.
Right. That's also, I feel like I remember, just speaking of weird ways watching the show is different. I feel like I've had more affection for the Torch office than I actually do in like, that just seems like a place where Chloe gives some exposition now. They never hang out in there. They never like, no memorable scenes happen in there.
Well, I think there was only like maybe one showdown with the Freak or something there.
Right. Okay, so both are embarrassed. They have a very personal and awkward conversation about whether or not Clark can sleep with Lana with his powers. Clark says they haven't because he doesn't know what will happen, since he has trouble adjusting to his abilities in new situations. Chloe eventually tells him that Lana is going to figure it out herself sooner or later, and he needs to tell her the truth. Which is like, Clark, buddy, how long are you going to pull off the... Also, what happens when you come, pal? What happens?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. the first thing you said, she literally says to him, "I think you're in denial about how much Lana knows." Like,
Yeah.
you might as well tell her.
You might as fucking well.
She would be less upset if she knew than she is not knowing, obviously.
I am like,
Obviously, anyone can see that.
I have been a Clark defender here of like, Zach, he can't, Zach. And like, look at what happened to Pete. He had to move away, Zach. Season 5, episode 98, Clark, pal, buddy. It's time.
It's the worst that could happen to Lana. Look at all the shit that's happened to her.
It's not getting any worse for Lana.
No. Great Allison Mack is so good in this scene.
Yes.
He is fucking fantastic.
I would have had way more. Once again, I wish this was a B plot. I would have had 3 more scenes here over the course of this hour.
This is an interesting conflict and a very funny one and a fun one, which is something you would have to think about if you were taking Superman literally, which is happens when he ejaculates.
Right. And come on, it's so good. And like sometimes the answer is just, you know what Superman and Lois does? It's fine.
Right. It is interesting to think because she says, you learn to control your other powers, but the whole thing about that is that you can't control it, right? When it's happening,
right?
It's like a reaction. It's your body. It's out of your control.
Yep. And there's I don't even like. And now, granted, I guess like Smallville leaned less into romance than say Buffy did, but that's also I haven't seen that in a very long time. Buffy had a whole storyline. So I don't know if you're familiar with the character of Angel, who was on the show for a while and then had his own spinoff. Basically, he, as a vampire, he's a good vampire, but whenever he comes, he becomes evil again. And it's a whole storyline.
Oh my god.
And it's actually a really fantastic second season story of imagine losing your virginity and it turns your boyfriend evil.
That's fun. But I appreciate the balls that Smallville has to make a plot line of Superman sperm.
But I think they could have gone farther. I think Buffy went farther.
Could have. They should have, and they could have, and today they probably would have. But still, it's because that's the implication, right? It's not
right. It's not that he'll crush her.
No, he's like, I don't want my sperm to shoot out her shoulders, like shoot out the back of her head or whatever the fuck happens. But also, Chloe would have suggested other types of sex, buddy.
Right. You can
still have fun, man, until you figure this out.
Unless, unless his fingers are going to become fucking torpedoes and then suddenly it's like shattered her fucking pelvis.
You're worried that if he exhales while he's going down on her, it just freezes her.
So I specifically want a line of dialogue of Chloe being like, there's other kinds of sex, and Clark being like, I'm worried about all of them. I'm worried about penetrative sex. I'm worried about non-penetrative sex.
Oh, shit. He's like, how hard it is just to not set her on fire?
So also you're telling me, so we have confirmed now that I kind of left this question on the table until this episode literalized it, of we make a whole big thing of Clark and Lana having sex for the first time. And then they never touched on it again. So part of me wondered, maybe maybe it's just fine. And we're just left to wonder. But now we're like, so that means Clark, an 18-year-old, has done, and maybe possibly ejaculated for the first time, just based on he doesn't seem to fucking know, and we don't find much. All I know is that's all I did at the first time I did. That's all I did for the next couple of weeks.
For sure. Just cancel all my meetings, Mom.
This is all I'm doing. I found my new favorite thing. I only have one hobby left now, and it is this.
Oh, well, has to have.
Yeah.
Has to have
Has
done it.
to have.
Here's what I'm guessing. Maybe when he does it, when he has his powers, it's quite a like he's shooting out the fucking ceiling boards, and like, you know what I mean, like.
Johnny K is wandering around like, what the fuck is going on in this loft? Like, how is the ceiling?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What is this? These little holes that are appearing. So doesn't know how to control that. Maybe.
Right.
There's no way he is an 18-year-old, and
No, impossible. Well, all right. Guess we got to call up Talkville. We got to get ready. All right.
although
Tom, how many
Flame
times
thing
Superman
was-
come now? How many time he come now? I know how many time Wheat Boy come, and it's a lot.
the Wheat Boy all the time, he's making cream of wheat.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Boy.
why is our listenership down?
Can't imagine. I can't
Can't figure
imagine.
it out.
Lionel offers Martha enough money to finance the rest of Jonathan's campaign, but she refuses. I don't know if I mentioned in the wiki, but they're struggling a little bit with money.
Is they spend it all on American flag.
Right. That he suggests that since the run has been so stressful, maybe she doesn't want Jonathan to win. Martha basically turns down this personal check from Lionel Luthor in the middle of an alley. You're telling me Lionel Luthor couldn't because he actively it's not for Martha's benefit. He doesn't want Lex to win. He actively does. So you're telling me he's not setting up a fucking shell LLC and just like funneling in donations to his campaign? Surely billionaire Lionel Luthor could do that, right?
He could have, yes, he could have done it without anyone knowing.
Right.
Even
Like
Martha
Martha
or
doesn't even
Johnny
have to
K.
know. Yeah. That said, I will, against my own point, he wants to be the one to swoop in and help Martha, right?
Right. 100%, that's part of it. He wants to have something for Martha.
Right.
Because he loves Martha.
And that having something over someone you love is the only way he knows how.
That's exactly. Yep. Manipulation.
God, I love Lionel Luthor. I would never want to meet him in person, but I love him. I love him.
Such a rich character.
Yes.
Such a rich character.
I don't know what kind of Lionel Luthor presence there has ever been in the comics. But like, canonically, Lex Luthor has a father named Lionel Luthor. But this has to be the single greatest interpretation depiction
For sure.
ever
Yes,
possible.
For sure.
We ready to move on?
I was just going to jump ahead in the notes. Yeah, let's move on. I haven't.
Great. When Martha and Clark return home, they find Jonathan hanging upside down, unconscious in the barn. They rush him to the hospital.
Does Johnny K count as broken farm equipment?
No, because Clark does all the work around the farm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he just jerks off and waits for Clark to get home.
That's it. Remember when they made a whole big thing of like, oh, Clark, you can't stay here in fucking Smallville and like help run the farm. We won't let you. As if he's not bouncing back and forth in a fucking instant whenever he wants. We talked about that then. But okay, they rush Jonathan to the hospital, but Jonathan doesn't want to postpone the rally. He admits that he has been receiving threatening calls for a while now, and Martha and Jonathan argue about his decision. Lex arrives at the hospital. He is concerned and unsuccessfully tries to convince Clark that he had nothing to do with the attack. Great Welling stuff, great Rosenbaum stuff here.
I don't know if it's unsuccessful. I think Clark does believe him.
I also agree. I agree. I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, by the end of the scene. But I do think Clark is like, why is this so important to you, though, to win this?
Right. It doesn't improve their relationship, but I believe he did not kick the shit out of his father and hang him upside down from the barn.
And then Michael Rosenbaum, or Lex, gives a little brief, like, Evil Wilson.
Yes.
He talks about Prometheus or some shit, or I can't remember. One of those fucking myths.
One of those fucking guys.
You get a Nietzsche line.
Did he? I missed it.
I think he talks about being president.
Oh, gotcha. Love an Evil Wilson. More Evil Wilsons have kind of gone away. I want more of them. I like them.
Yeah. I wrote down Nietzsche line, so I know there was a Nietzsche line, but I think it was about Lex's future as in politics.
Got it.
Oh.
Got it. Jonathan's poll numbers rise due to the attack. So Samantha, the woman from earlier who's obsessed with Lex, decides to kill him. The other two members object, so she kills them as well. She then shaves her head bald in homage to Lex. Thank you, Wiki. Here's my
Looks like she really shaves it too, the actress.
I have two thoughts here. If it's a bald cap, it's incredible. Because it looks like... So either her head is already shaved and she had a wig on, or she really shaved her head. Which...
I think she really did it.
Shaving your head... if she did, I'm willing to bet it's in the notes on this episode. And shaving your head for a bit part on a single episode of Smallville, I don't know is the wisest career move a young actress could make in Hollywood, though I respect it. And I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying that's good, but...
I remember writers being very strict about people not being able to play Lex on the show unless they actually shaved their head. Like, the kids had to actually shave their head.
Yeah. Lex
That
is a
was a
main
big point
character
of
on the show, though, and is paid accordingly.
Right. Right, no, but I'm talking about the little kid, like the kids.
Oh,
like the little
Got it.
kids who play him.
Got it.
Also, that was a big sticking point with him not wanting to come back in later years, is that he didn't want to wear a bald cap.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't want to shave his head, and they were like, "We don't want you to wear a bald cap."
Got it.
When he finally does return in the finale, he's wearing a bald cap.
It limits your options a little bit, whether that's fair or not. And like, especially if he's going to show him at the finale, and he's only in it for like, it's a quick little nod in
Two
the finale.
scenes.
So of course he's not shaving his head for it.
Yeah.
It's which is funny. Rosenbaum looks great with the shaved head,
Does he looks really good?
but it limits your roles. It limits it big time. Okay. So she shaves her head in homage to Lex. She is waiting for Lex when he comes home and tells him what she has done for him. Lex is suitably appalled, and Samantha gets angry and knocks him out. Zachary?
Lex concussion. Concussion. Brian, think he just tied Johnny Knoxville with that concussion.
Oh my God, we did it. Wow. Just- Bowling balls start
You
falling
can't
from the
see
sky.
it.
God, what? Fuck, why did we think of it? No, this was a fucking mistake.
Count just to be sure here. In 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. He's had 16 concussions. I think 17 means he's dead, right?
Yes,
That's what
so
we
his
decided.
next concussion, we declare he is dead. 16 is the number. I think so we start the 16 plus club, right?
Right, yes. Yeah, 16 plus.
The Johnny Knoxville 16 plus club. And that is, you are, by all means, unless you are Clark, you should be dead.
I feel like Johnny K got a lot, too, in this show. We should have kept track, but
Yeah.
next time.
Next time through. I know we've said, I've joked about going through again, and then we have specified, no, of course, we're not going to really do that. I could see in like 20 years. Like, let's do it again.
Not as soon as we finish.
Right. Okay, Clark and Chloe trace the calls to Jonathan to the student group. Clark admits that Jonathan has changed since he started his campaign, and Chloe suggests that since Clark saves lives every day, Jonathan might be trying to prove a point by making a difference in his own way. Clark goes to the headquarters and finds the two dead students and realizes that Samantha is probably going to the rally. Backstage at the rally, while Jonathan prepares to give his speech, Lois runs into Samantha, who knocks Lois out cold. Is this another one?
Concussion, yep.
Oh my God.
Concussion.
This.
Concussion.
I know we also don't keep track of them per episode. Man, we could have been so granular with this. This is the most concussions per episode we've seen in a while.
A while, yeah. We're already only 5 away from tying last season's total concussion.
Wow. This is
We might set a concussion record this year.
I'm looking forward to it. It's also worth noting Samantha here is not a meteor freak. Not a freak. Just a woman. Heyo!
Oh my God. Boo.
That sucked. That
I'm
sucked.
officially booing that.
That
I am officially
sucked. That sucked big time.
Okay, so you notice that he has the scene with Chloe and they find out, no, it's the people at the headquarters. And then he goes to the headquarters. He changes his wardrobe from the scene with Chloe to the
Our
headquarters.
boy does that
I know he's Superman.
occasionally.
He can do it quickly, I guess.
He can, but still, what? Yeah.
Let me go home. I'm feeling the blue jacket for this next investigation.
You ever have that moment you're kind of going from like one thing to another thing, and you're like, let me go home and change.
Yeah.
I
sweat it. He doesn't sweat though.
I feel stronger in
Clark
the blue jacket.
It's not like a body odor issue. Does Superman just smell great?
He has
Does
to,
he not
right?
sweat?
He has to. Okay, Clark goes to their headquarters and finds the 2 dead students and realizes that Samantha is probably going to the rally. Backstage at the rally, John... Oh, wait, we did this. No, we didn't. Let's see here. Lois attacks Samantha. Samantha grabs... Sorry, I've lost my place. Lois runs into Samantha, who knocks Lois out cold. When Lois comes around, Samantha forces her to use a sniper rifle to shoot Jonathan. But at the last second, Lois attacks Samantha. Samantha grabs the rifle and gets a shot off before Lois grabs her. Just as Samantha shoots, Clark enters the rally, hears, and then we're going to go into parentheses here in the wiki, ironically, since bullets travel faster than the speed of sound.
Oh.
That's a note. That doesn't go in the fucking recap. You can put that in the little notes and we'll go, fuck you.
He has super hearing. Does that apply to it?
I mean, if it's literally going
hear from miles away.
faster, I see their point, but it doesn't belong here.
He can move faster than the bullet, so
Not my issue. So here's the bullet. Super speeds in front. I'm cold reading this, guys. Like, wiki writers, I'm cold reading this. So if you throw a fucking parenthetical and it doesn't fucking serve a point, it throws the whole rhythm off. I'm cold reading. Give me a fucking...
You're yelling at the wiki writers like Jimmy Fallon.
That's... I feel like that shoe was going to drop any fucking day. That's... With all there's some stuff around the Tonight Show being a god-awful place to work. And, like, generally, like, I know people around the scene. So, like, I've known this forever. And so it's always funny when, like, things come around of like, oh, so we're deciding this is happening now, huh?
We're going to talk about it now.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that, but when I heard it, I was like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
of course.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Entertainment is kind of terrible to work in. Believe it or not. Okay, so I'll put it this way. I don't know anyone who hasn't cried a little bit backstage, myself included.
That sounds awful.
Oh,
Actually,
And
like,
I've only had good experiences, really, and even that came with some crying. Okay. So, sound of the bullet, super speeds in front of Jonathan to catch it without anyone noticing he was there. This is a good little scene. They did this well. Man,
very
in
good
retrospect,
effects
this is an okay episode. Yeah, I take my lukewarm. It might have just caught me in a bad mood. I watched it right when I woke up with a screaming 6-month-old.
The way it was intended to be seen.
Of course.
It was intended to be seen in a college dorm room. I really do like the effects in this moment here.
It's
They're
good.
really well done.
Okay, so however, everyone hears the rifle shot and people panic. When Clark gets to the booth, Lois has Samantha pinned down. They always, they never quite let Clark get in there against a woman.
No, for
Lois
good
always
reason.
tags in, you know?
And then Clark comes in the aftermath, and Lois is like, "Don't worry, I got this one, Smallville."
It's good. It's good. Lionel and Lex argue about Griff's fate. Lex has correctly guessed that Lionel paid Griff off. Lex is frustrated by Lionel's constant and complete refusal to support him. Something made you laugh there?
Hey, well, the wiki totally buried the lead there, and the scene itself kind of does too. Lex
right.
mentions that Griff has been murdered
Right.
in suicide slums or whatever they call it.
Right.
And then Lionel's like, "Oh yeah, terrible part of town. They're so dangerous." Implication is Lionel has murdered this man.
I love that we're back to now shady, weird Lionel. Yeah, maybe presently our heroes are making use of some of Lionel's resources, but Lionel is a fucked up dude. He's not the angel he maybe was for a second.
This is my favorite era of Lionel, because he's evil Lionel that we love, but he's doing it for good in his mind.
Yes.
He's doing it for Clark. Like, he's doing it to help Clark, and that puts Clark in a tough position to be like, the devil is trying to help me.
Right.
Basically, get to a point in this show where Lex and Lionel swap their relationship with Clark, where
Yes.
like Lionel's like, I'm Clark's confidant and buddy, and I'm using my evil powers to help him. Lex is on the outside. It just it's good to be able to actually cheer for Lionel evil.
Yes. Yes.
The first 3 seasons, he's evil and you like kind of hate him.
Yeah.
You're watching the show. I mean, you love him because he's so good at acting, but hate the character. And then now you're like, oh, I love him.
Yes.
Love him.
Yes. And our boy keeps his hands clean.
Yeah. The implication is, I'm not wrong. The implication is Lionel has had this man killed.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
It's 100% the way John Glover delivers the line of like, oh yeah, terrible part of town. Yeah.
Yes.
They brush over this. Like, Lex isn't like, I can't believe you had a man killed. What's wrong with you? Lex is like, couldn't you have supported me just once? Makes
You
it about
haven't killed
him.
anyone for me, Dad. Lana and Clark meet in the barn and decide to slow down their relationship and attempt to rebuild it. Lana reveals she is studying the meteor showers. She says she doesn't believe they are random and has been comparing the two events. She thinks a ship might have arrived in the first meteor shower and that someone from it has been in Smallville the entire time. Clark just looks alarmed and does not reply. Yeah, there's a bit of a thing here of like, all right, no more secrets now. Here's my thing. Clark is like, interesting.
She's so fucking close. She's so close. The fact that he doesn't tell her right then.
Yeah, like,
it's
oh, fuck, that's it.
it's
That's it. It's... Have you ever
literally right on the money.
Have you ever played the game Werewolf? It's for anyone not familiar, where I'm specifically referring to One Night Ultimate Werewolf, but it's a party game. It's basically someone among your group is the werewolf. You have 5 minutes to discuss who the werewolf is. Everyone has different roles, so you kind of try to reverse engineer what happened and who the werewolf is. But sometimes that moment comes along where someone has completely fucking pegged it. And like, okay, this moved to here, so that means that was you, and then you're saying this, so that's you, and if they're not lying, that means you're the werewolf. And like, there might be 3 minutes left on the clock, and you just gotta be like, yeah, you're right, you got me. I could try to deflect this, but like, you got me.
So the idea that Lana has figured all that out, but can't put it together the person is Clark.
The person who keeps weirdly hiding things from her and like is like worried he'll fucking blow a load like a shotgun through her back.
And just the timeline lines up perfectly for his arrival in Smallville, the mysteries. So close.
There used to kind of be an element here of, if you remember, that like Clark feeling guilty that the meteors that he arrived with NBA jammed, he's on fire, straight into her father's fucking face while he watched it happen. But we haven't talked about that in seasons.
No, it's such a good reason and like a fear for him to have.
Right.
They don't really, and to my knowledge, when he finally does tell her, like for good in a few seasons, it never comes up.
Missed opportunity there. I would have thrown that out there. I would have made. It's not a great reason not to tell her, but like it's at least one. This show's not even pretending there's a good reason to not.
No, and they used the 100th episode to try to give him a good reason not to tell her.
Right.
And we'll talk about that.
We'll get there. Lois reports that Jonathan is ahead in the polls, but she is worried because they are officially out of money. Martha decides to take Lionel up on his offer and meets him in his car. Ooh, good episode. You're right. This one's good.
Yeah, very good episode. But couldn't he have just like left that check somewhere for her?
Yeah,
she
right.
Had to get in the car.
No, we have to. It is. It is fun understanding the realities of television. Yes, the characters need to physically appear together on the screen in this visual medium, right?
Yeah.
Martha opening an envelope does nothing, but also the reality that this implies is hilarious.
Right. Yeah. Like it's supposed to be super secret, but like just right at her work, he just picks her up from her work.
Right. The featured music this episode, there's just one. It's I Want It All by Depeche Mode. Great song. Just scanning through here for the notes, some trivia. This is the 29th appearance of Clark's red jacket and blue shirt outfit. I love that they're keeping track of this for us so that we don't have to. This episode marks a rare occurrence in which one of Lex's many allusions to history and mythology is inaccurate. He comments to Clark that his question was like Apollo asking Icarus why he was building wings, when in fact it was Icarus's father, Daedalus, who built them. Whatever. Some speculations about the problems Superman could face in his personal life, personal in quotes here to imply fucking, have been discussed by writer Larry Niven here. Strange. It was also discussed in the film. Oh boy, this is a very long link. Who the fuck put that? I think Larry maybe did this. This is some old school internet here. And Zach, this is a long article about Superman's sex life.
Like a Patreon episode.
I think you're right. I think you're right. That's exactly what this is. I need to read you the title of this essay, Zach. Get ready. Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex.
Oh.
Zach looked visibly ill. Zach?
Yeah.
This original article is from 1971.
Whoa. Before the Superman movie.
1971. For all of human history, for all of Superman's history, man has asked, how's Superman fuck, though?
Well, we definitely have to read this fucking thing. Because if it was in 1971, it was like a real publication.
We are the first, just to tease this here once again, this will be available on the Patreon. Maybe soon, maybe in the next couple of days. Who knows? Probably not. But certainly this month. He's faster than a speeding bullet. He's more powerful than a locomotive. He's able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Why can't he get a girl? He does famously have a girl.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Very famously. He's one of the ones who's got a girl.
Batman doesn't.
Batman ain't got a girl.
Yeah.
It's occasionally they try to make Catwoman a thing, and we all go, "Yeah, all right." I prefer my Batman being a sexless monk who only gets a boner for justice.
Yeah, and his young male sidekick,
of course. That goes without saying, of course. Lana and Clark talk about staying in tonight instead of going to the ice rink, which seems a little odd considering Clark went on his first date with Alicia at the ice rink before she was killed in Pariah. No, come on. No. You have a spot. You have a spot. Come on. there were a couple bars, and one was like a good first date spot. One was like, no, that's not strange at all. This episode,
that's not strange. You can't go into the ice rink with more than one person.
it's Kansas. There's not that much shit to fucking do. What else are they gonna fucking do?
Like, I've gone bowling with multiple women. Like, what is
Whoa, you slut.
Yeah, I know. I didn't tell them that either. They both thought it was the first one.
This episode marks the first time Clark becomes worried of hurting Lana with his strength. They had consummated their relationship before, but only when he was human.
Literally the text of the episode. Thank you,
Yep,
Wiki.
thank you for, that's literally it. David Richmond Peck, who played Sosnick, was also the meter maid that Lex assaulted in Dichotic. I believe that's season 1. Funny.
It's season 2.
What's that? Yes. Lex looks in good health in this episode, despite being recently shot and having surgery to prevent paralysis in Lexmas. Hey, it's been 2 months. That's forever in Smallville time.
Yeah, he doesn't even remember getting shot at this point.
Dude,
I believe he's going to get shot next week again.
wow. That's a lot of bullets for Lex.
50 Cent.
Lex tells Clark that asking him why the Senate seat is so important, blah, 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 blah. These are just illusions. They're not that interesting. Nothing about the hair. Because, man, it does look like she really shaved her head. Which, hey, good on her. I don't know if that's a good call, but good on her. I guess that's it for this one. Any closing thoughts on, what's this episode called? Fanatic.
Oh, I really liked it. I'm excited to see where this February campaign goes.
Right, of course. It doesn't end good, Zach. Spoiler alert for somebody.
It ends up really good for another person who just magically gets a Senate seat.
That's true.
In the aftermath.
So, who knows? What could we possibly be referring to? That's going to wrap it up for the Talon Mix this week. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hey, we mentioned the Patreon. If you want to maybe check that out or some other things like our Discord, there's a link in our bio or in the description of this episode. You can head to bit.ly/Brian Zach Pod for all of our links. Once again, that's bit.ly Brian Zach Pod. There's a link in the description. And then also, hey, if you don't got $5 and don't want to give us $5, which is a completely reasonable, rational thing to do, I don't know. I mentioned listens are a little down, which is fine, and we totally get. But if you are, some of you are still out there, still listening, still enjoying the show, just a nice comment, a 5-star, a line in the Discord that you're enjoying the show, I don't know, helps perk up the motive. We're going to keep doing this even for 0 people. We have before. This, we will not stop. But it does make it a little more motivating to keep this for at least 3 more years. We do, I think, bare minimum have to go back. We have to fill out the whole show. But we'll figure it out.
We have to get season 1 in the tank.
Yeah. We have to get the whole show on it, so it's all one complete show. But thank you, everybody. We'll
be interesting. It'll be like a snake eating its tail.
There you go.
We'll be like, it'll be so weird.
We'll have to canonically get shot back in time, and then we'll. Thank you again, everybody. Hey, Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
I do, actually. Has Clark ever shot down a plane having a wet dream?
Good night, everybody.